Joe, I know when the season started, everybody was surprised to see you kicking field goals and everything. And so now that you're 5 games in, has it gotten more comfortable for you at this point?
Yeah, I would say so. You're right. At the beginning of the season, it was something that kind of threw everyone off, and including myself. But it's one of those things. The team needed me, so I had to step up and do my best to relearn everything that I had previously done in high school. So, as the weeks have gone on, I've gotten more comfortable and starting to find some stuff that I can fix, but try not to be too critical on myself just because I am pretty still raw at it. So trying to keep it as simple as possible for me is best. So taking it slow right now is probably the best thing I can do, but also just finding maybe one thing that I can work on every single day.
And I know going into the season, you talked about just the trust that Coach Bankins has in you and his guys and that special teams group. What does it say about the trust that they have in you to have you play these double roles?
Yeah, I would say that it shows how much trust they have in me, and I think that comes just from a maturity standpoint of how many games I've logged. So it's one of those things where, um, you know, maybe at the first practice they were kind of like, hey, let's test the water, see what he can do, and then after I showed that I can consistently hit a ball that we can play with, then at that point it was just kind of a maturity type of agreement, I would say, for them to go with me and just see what I could do.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Brennan.
Joe, if you could just you mentioned how you're relearning some things, like walk us through how, now that you've had a chance to kick some field goals, walk us through kind of how tough it is to kind of relearn this stuff, after not doing it for 4 years.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing for me is in high school, obviously you get to kick off a block, which really helps out young kickers get height and distance on the ball. But when you take that away, it really can humble someone really quick because that margin of error starts to, it'll really start, it will show up. And it's something that I had to work on, getting on height and making sure I'm hitting the ball pretty clean, to go the distance as well. So that was the biggest thing, was kind of relearning, because in high school I was kicking off a block, and then in college I hadn't had to kick off the ground. So really learning how to kick off the ground was the biggest thing.
And just kind of with that, I mean, you've obviously, you've had some great kicks. Obviously, the Mississippi State kick comes to mind, but just as you're learning, did you feel like you said every game is kind of a learning experience where you are learning something different just from being in the position again?
Yeah, I think, definitely playing in different stadiums, different surfaces. So turf, it does play a huge role on how well I hit the ball, on grass, whether it's thick or, it's kind of like golf fairway, I would say, or if we're playing on a turf field, how hard it is. Like Liberty Bowl, it was crazy to me how hard the surface was, but it's something that I kind of had to get used to and kind of adapt to. But yeah, it's just all those small kind of stuff that you would never think of. I've had to kind of soak in really fast and kind of adapt as fast as I could.
Thank you.
Terry.
Hey, what's going on, Joe?
Hey, doing well. How about you?
Man, life is good. Punting and kicking requires two types of muscle use and that. So how do you balance the two? Because you're a really, really good punter, but you're trying to become a more consistent field goal kicker. So how do you balance the two type drills on a daily basis?
Yeah, so it's one of those things that I'm still trying to learn right now, because I think that I've shown that I have the capability to, possibly one day be a backup in the NFL as a field goal kicker. So it's something that I want to continually work on. But really having a set day where I work on something is what I'm doing right now. So having a set day where I'll just do punt stuff, and then the next day just do field goal stuff, back to punt, and then but really being smart with these reps is the most important thing for me, just so I don't overload my leg and so I have a dead leg. but especially since I haven't used a lot of these muscles in, kicking field goals, it's obviously heavy on the groin, hips, back. So trying to be as smart as I can, trying to, count these reps and make sure I'm not over kicking and, so my legs feeling fresh on Saturdays.
All right. Thank you, Joe.
Appreciate it.